Coming up, a massive typhoon hits a tropical oasis, leaving behind a fun-filled water park in its wake. Disney presents Beyond the Kingdoms. Today's episode of Beyond the Kingdoms is proudly sponsored by SmallWorldVacations.com, authorized Disney vacation planners. Their team of knowledgeable agents have been creating the magic for over 20 years, and they can book your next trip to Walt Disney World. Just visit their website to get a free quote. Small World Vacations, where the magic begins. Hello everyone, and welcome to this week's Sunday main show here at Beyond the Kingdoms. Each week we explore a different part of Disney World and the surrounding attractions in Central Florida. And today we are traveling to one of Disney's water parks, Typhoon Lagoon. If you're new to this channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below so that you never miss an episode. But let's slap on the sunscreen, catch some waves, and jump right into today's video. Typhoon Lagoon opened at Walt Disney World on June 1st, 1989, meaning just last month, the park celebrated its 30th anniversary. When it opened, this was Disney's second water park, the first being River Country located on Bay Lake. Now that the fabled River Country no longer exists, Typhoon Lagoon remains to be Disney's oldest water park still in operation. This park opened just 1 month after Disney's Hollywood Studios opened, as well as Pleasure Island over at what's now called Disney Springs. For my longtime Disney fans, you'll immediately notice similar design aesthetics to places such as the Adventurers Club. Typhoon Lagoon definitely embodies the style and history associated with Disney during its major growth spurt in the 1990s. This park is also only 61 acres large, making it slightly smaller than Blizzard Beach. However, the layout of Typhoon Lagoon makes it seem as though it's more spread out than its sister water park. And finally, this park is also home to one of the largest wave pools in the world, measuring at over 109,000 square feet, holding more than 3 million gallons of water. While Disney World's first water park was loved by many, it did lack a certain level of Disney theming found in the rest of the theme parks around the world. It was, after all, Disney's first attempt at a water park. So when Imagineers decided to build a second one, it was decided that it would feature the same level of Disney details that could be found in places such as Adventureland at the Magic Kingdom. Some early concepts tossed around were a lost temple that was uncovered and converted into a water park, a waterlogged logging camp, and a beached cruise ship. But Disney artist Chris Runco sketched an idea that featured a steamship stuck atop a mountain after a freak storm threw it on up there. Then creative executive Randy Bright was so intrigued by this sketch that Imagineers pushed forward with this idea. And the story of Typhoon Lagoon goes something like this. Originally, this location was home to Placid Palms Resort, a quiet oasis found somewhere in the tropics and positioned next to a sparkling lagoon and volcanic mountain. But when a freak typhoon hit the area, it tossed hundreds of boats, buoys, and surfboards all around the place, leaving behind complete wreckage. However, the damage from the storm created a maze of water slides and play areas that tourists could still enjoy, turning Placid Palms into Typhoon Lagoon. Let's now take a complete tour of the water park. Like Blizzard Beach, this place is divided up into sections, grouping water slides together based on their intensity. The less intense slides are grouped together near the kids' play area, and the park's newest additions are conveniently located near a quieter lounge area that the adults will enjoy. But let's begin with the star attraction at Typhoon Lagoon, the wave pool. When it first opened, this was the largest wave pool in the world. I'm not 100% sure, but it may not hold that title anymore. However, it's still among the biggest on Earth. Throughout the day, massive waves are pumped out from the back of the pool and come crashing to the shoreline. It's a thrilling experience, but also very intense. And something to note here is that the pool alternates from the big surf waves to the more mellow bopping waves. When you first enter the park, take note of the surf schedule. You'll see that the day will usually begin with a 90-minute session of these big waves, then rotate to the calm ones. From there, it just continues to rotate until the park closes. If you're looking for an extra thrill at the wave pool, Typhoon Lagoon also offers private surf lessons before the park opens to regular day guests. For more details on this, I'll leave a link in the description below. But if the waves are too much for you, you can always take a relaxing ride on Castaway Creek. This lazy river wraps around the entire park and cuts right through the middle of Mount Mayday. It stretches over 2,000 feet long, and it's about a 20-minute round-trip experience. And along the way, you're going to see some of the park's best theming. From a misty tropical rainforest to some fun scenes of wreckage left behind by the storm. Of the two water parks, Castaway Creek is the far superior one of the two, in my humble opinion, just for this great theming. Let's now jump into some more exciting attractions at the water slides. Like I said, the slides at Typhoon Lagoon are grouped together by their intensity, very similar to the slopes at Blizzard Beach. On the right side of Mount Mayday, you'll find 3 storm slides and Humunga Cowabunga. These are the park's body speed slides. My personal favorite, of course, is Humunga Cowabunga, which is a drop slide that sends guests down a 50-foot tunnel, reaching speeds up to 30 miles per hour. There is a height requirement here, and that guests must be at least 48 inches to ride. But you'll be happy to know that there's only one other slide here at this park that has a height requirement. Cowabunga is definitely the park's most thrilling slide and a must-do. Then, in the same area, you have storm slides, a trio of body slides that are a little less intense, but still send you down with some good speed. Out of the more mild slides at this park, this set is my favorite. The 3 slides send you zigzagging down the mountain through some tunnels and some big turns. And each one is slightly different. The Jib Jammer is the most tame of the 3, but not by much. The Rudder Buster features a lot more turns. And the Stern Burner has the most tunnels. What I like about these is that there is no height restriction and it's easy to do multiple times. If your kids are under 48 inches, these are the slides where they'll experience the most thrills and speed. Just be warned, there's a lot of stairs for this one. Now on the opposite side of Mount Mayday, the left side if you're looking at Miss Tilly, is where you'll find the more mellow raft rides. Again, you have a trio here, and they're similar to each other, but there are some distinct differences between them. Both MAYDAY Falls and KEELHAUL Falls are raft rides where you'll sit solo. Now, I think younger guests a little intimidated by the body slides will really enjoy these two, but I must admit I don't find these too comfortable for the adults, specifically MAYDAY Falls. There are several large bumps along the way meant to slow you down a bit, and they prevent you from going too fast. But sadly, I really must admit I don't think this is a fun ride. I find the shape of this slide a little odd. I found that it's not quite wide enough to fit, and I had a few close calls along the way. Of these two slides, I definitely prefer KEELHAUL Falls. It's a lot smoother and not so bumpy. However, as you can see, it still has a width problem. I was told I couldn't tuck my feet in, and I was a little nervous I was going to hit one of those rocks. The other downside to these two slides is that you'll have to carry the rafts up the mountain yourself. And like I said before, Typhoon Lagoon has a lot of stairs. Sometimes the stairs even go down to go back up again. There's no sense to it. And the same goes for the third slide in this area, GANGPLANK Falls. This is one of two family raft rides in the park. Before Misadventure Falls opened, this was the only way a group of friends could enjoy a slide down together, because each raft can accommodate up to 4 people. And you'll be sent down a 300-foot slide, twisting and turning all the way down. Of the 3 in this area, this is the middle one in terms of intensity. MAYDAY is definitely the bumpiest, but GANGPLANK is a good warm-up for the little ones before getting on Misadventure Falls, which is a lot faster and bigger. Just note that like the previous two, you'll have to carry these rafts up the stairs yourself. Now, the good thing about these 3 slides being located on this side is that it's also adjacent to Ketchikiddee Creek. This is Typhoon Lagoon's play area for the toddlers who are still too small to swim. The shipwreck theming here is really cute, and there are plenty of places for little ones to jump and play in this giant splash pad. I specifically love the waterfalls at the back of the area. Very pretty. For those ready for their first slide, there is a very mellow one here that they can enjoy. It's not much, but it's a fun first step. Now we get to big new additions. Typhoon Lagoon has added 2 different water slides in the last 15 years, Crush and Gusher, and the park's newest slide, Misadventure Falls. This one opened in 2017 and has been a great addition to the park. The story here is that Captain Mary Oceaneer, who is part of the Society of Explorers and Adventurers, and her parrot friend Duncan crashed into Typhoon Lagoon when the big storm hit. Mary is a collector, and some of her treasures can be found throughout the queue and the attraction itself. If you've been aboard the Disney Cruise Line, Mary may look familiar to you. Misadventure Falls is a fantastic slide, and it's the park's longest. For those who don't like carrying their own rafts, you'll be happy to know that this attraction features a conveyor belt that takes you and your family up the slide. A first for a Disney water park. And the entire attraction features design details and yes, even an animatronic that you would expect from Disney. Some say this is Disney's best water slide, and it's a great thrill for the whole family. I must say that this is Typhoon Lagoon's most popular attraction, and something you should prioritize first thing on your trip to the park. But I'll have more tips for you guys later. Then we finally have my #1 favorite slide at this park, Crush and Gusher. This is Disney's first and so far only water coaster, and something that you must do on a day at Typhoon Lagoon. The details are not quite as good as Misadventure Falls, but there is a fun backstory. This section of the park is home to an abandoned fruit packaging center. The conveyor belts that once transported crates of bananas and coconuts have now been converted into water slides. Like a lot of the other attractions here, Crush and Gusher is actually a set of 3 different slides: the Pineapple Plunger, the Coconut Crusher, and the Banana Blaster. Guests can experience all 3 slides in pairs. You'll pick up your raft at the Hideaway pool and take them up the tower yourself. If you're riding solo, you can only experience Coconut Crusher, so make sure you bring a friend. Like the other slides, the trio here are somewhat similar with some subtle differences. I think the Coconut Crusher is the most thrilling of the 3 in that it has an extra bunny hill. But maybe that's just because riding this one by yourself offers some really fun thrills. Now, while this slide is one of the newer attractions at Typhoon Lagoon, it doesn't always seem to have long wait times, and that could be because it has a height restriction. But after Misadventure Falls, I would prioritize this one next on your list. It's a great attraction and one that's fun to do over and over. Now, before I leave you guys today, I want to share some of my top tips to best experience this park. I recently shared my top tips video for visiting both water parks at Disney, but today I have a few more details specific to Typhoon Lagoon. I have mentioned this one before, but I have to reiterate. Please be very careful at the wave pool, specifically with toddlers and infants. The only place where I found that schedule of the big waves versus the calm waves was right after the entrance path into the park. You can call me a grandpa all you want, but if you have a little one who can't swim, I would consider avoiding this area when the big waves hit. I even found it intimidating myself, and think it's actually the scariest thing at this park. It looks like a wall of water and people just coming right at you. And I definitely salute the lifeguards here, because it cannot be easy monitoring everyone. Now, some people choose to hover at the very back of the pool to catch the wave all the way into the shoreline. In some ways, this is actually a little less scary because you'll be ahead of the pack, but you'll have to be a very good swimmer to tread in this deep end of the pool. In the middle is where the most danger is, in my opinion, because that's when the waves start crashing. And even from a big distance back, you'll be surprised on how strong that current will push you. If you have little ones, stick to Catch a Kitty Creek or even the Hideaway Pool by Crush and Gusher. This is a much safer and wiser area to hang out in. And this goes hand in hand with my next tip: prime spots to claim your beach chairs. I find that scoring a good lounge chair much easier at Typhoon Lagoon over Blizzard Beach, simply because there are more good options. My personal favorite spot is tucked away by the old Shark Reef area and near the storm slides. Even if you arrive halfway through the day, you'll easily score a chair in the shade here. You're also close to one of my favorite food stops, Typhoon Tilly's. I like this spot because you're in equal distance to Cowabunga and storm slides, as well as Misadventure Falls and Crush and Gusher. I also noticed that there's a second set of lockers in this area that is less crowded than the main one by the gift shop. Just note that you'll have to pay to rent these lockers at Singapore Sal's, so don't walk all the way over there before you get that taken care of. So I think that this area is best for access and it's really quiet. The Hideaway Pool that I just mentioned is also a very good spot because of that proximity to the more popular water slides. You're also very close to the changing rooms, but this one will fill up more quickly. This is a good spot if you're the type of person to rope drop. If you have very little ones and perhaps not prioritizing the speed slides, plant yourselves on the opposite side of the mountain by Catch a Kitty Creek. Okay, like I mentioned in my Blizzard Beach video, Typhoon Lagoon offers some VIP sections that come with some extra amenities. If you don't want to stress about arriving early to snag a good spot, you can rent a beachcomber shack that can accommodate up to 6 people. These come with cushioned chairs, a private attendant that can bring food to you, a locker, refillable mugs for everyone, and a cooler to keep your drinks cold. Now these can get pretty pricey, ranging from $200 a day up to $350. To pre-book this, call 407-WDW-PLAY, or you can do same-day reservations at the main gift shop. Alternatively, you can reserve a set of lounge chairs that come with an umbrella. The Getaway Glen umbrellas can hold up to 4 people and comes with towels and a drinks table. It's a little less expensive, usually around $40 to $60 a day. So between 4 people, it's not really a bad deal. But if you're worried about shade, just know that there are plenty of other shaded lounge chairs for free, just as long as you arrive early. And finally, we have park strategies. I love the water parks because it reminds me of simpler times when FastPass Plus didn't exist. However, you can still get caught in some long lines here. So there's a general order I recommend doing to make sure you experience all the slides and even get to do your favorites one more time. No matter what you do, you should definitely start your day by riding Misadventure Falls. This is truly the one slide that gets really backed up later in the day. Around 1 p.m., don't be surprised if the wait here is up to 30 minutes. After this, go immediately to Crush and Gusher. You'll have enough time to do at least 2 of the 3 slides. I would then work my way through the 3 storm slides. Then round out this first go with Cowabunga. If you arrive before 10 a.m., get your lockers and set up your base camp, you can easily do all of these in the first hour or so, leaving the rest of the day to come and go as you please. You'll have plenty of time to experience both the wave pool and the lazy river. If you want a second round of Misadventure Falls or Crush and Gusher, save it for the last 2 hours of the day. And if you're really lucky, you may catch Lilo and Stitch on a visit to Typhoon Lagoon. They don't have any set appearance times listed, but I found that you can meet at least one of them on your way out of the park towards the end of the day. They'll usually be positioned right by the main gift shop. So there you have it, friends, a complete tour exploring Disney's Typhoon Lagoon water park. Of the 2, this has some fantastic Disney theming and is a much more relaxing place to unwind at. The tropical setting will be a nice escape for many of you coming from outside the Sunshine State, and you'll love the Disney details dotted everywhere in this park. I do enjoy the slides at Blizzard Beach a little bit more, but for a more fun-filled day that the whole family can enjoy, definitely go to Typhoon Lagoon. Now stay tuned next week as I transition to something completely different. For the first time, I'm actually going beyond the parks at Disney and visiting one of my favorite Central Florida attractions, the Kennedy Space Center, just in time for the 50th anniversary of the Apollo 11 moon landing. I'll have plenty of tips this week, a food review, and of course, a complete guide to the entire park. But until next time, thank you so much for watching, and remember, if you can dream it, you can do it.